Our scripture reading today comes from the Gospel of Luke, page 848 in your pew Bibles, if you'd like to follow along. It's under the heading, Jesus Heals a Crippled Woman. And this account from the Gospel of Luke, I think, is a tremendous summary of who Jesus was, is, what he was about, what his work was. Seeing people carrying heavy loads and teaching that their needs were holy. Challenging the religious establishment, the religious elites of the day, their priorities, calling them to refocus their priorities not on the keeping of obscure rules, but on caring for people. And that brought with it conflict. Luke chapter 13, beginning verse 10. Now he was teaching in one of the synagogues on the Sabbath. Always, I want to make it clear that Jesus was an observant Jew. Sabbath observance was part of his life, as was participation in the life of the synagogue. In the synagogue on the Sabbath, and just then there appeared a woman with a spirit that had crippled her for 18 years. We don't know exactly what this was, but some sort of arthritis-like condition that contorted her body. She was bent over and quite unable to stand up straight. When Jesus saw her, he called her over and said, "Woman, you are set free from your ailment." And when he laid his hands on her, immediately she stood up straight and began praising God. But the leader of the synagogue, indignant because Jesus had cured on the Sabbath, kept saying to the crowd, "There are 6 days on which work ought to be done. Come on those days to be cured, and not on the Sabbath day." But the Lord answered him and said, "You hypocrites." And for Jesus, there were two great sins, hypocrisy and hard-heartedness. "You hypocrites, does not each of you on the Sabbath untie his ox or his donkey from the manger and lead it away to give it water? And ought not this woman, a daughter of Abraham whom Satan bound for 18 long years, be set free from bondage on the Sabbath day?" When he said this, all the opponents were put to shame, and the entire crowd was rejoicing at all the wonderful things that he was doing. We celebrate the story of Jesus of old. Loving God, for the witness that comes down the ages, the witness of faith, hope, and love. The greatest of these is love. May we be attuned to, shaped by your love eternal. Amen. So I want to say a few words today, framing biblically, theologically, the work of the Lakeshore Children's Center. And then we've got, check here, Dwight is here. Good morning. We'll have Dwight bring testimony. Marie Johnson will bring testimony. Our moderator, Ray Rita, the LCC director, and Richard Young, and Michelle LePron, if it's okay with you, I'd like to bring you in also in on this, okay? And one of our former directors as well. Just to, Michelle, you're looking at me shocked. Just tell them what you always tell me, that LCC has built up a lot of good karma, okay? All right. And then just testimonies for what Lakeshore Children's Center means. So thank you to Marion Ott, who saved these documents, and then when she passed away, her son-in-law, Mark Harrison, found them and passed them to me. Documents from 1972, when Lakeshore Children's Center was founded. These were the explanatory brochures, the registration forms. Little cheaper then. The registration fee was $6. Full daycare per month was $100. And, you know, Ray, when they sign up, and Elma, when kids sign up now, a whole sheaf of documents, child care, medicine regulations, all kinds of stuff. At least 15 pages to register? Something like that. One page. This is what the brochure said. The Lakeshore Children's Center is located in 2 newly renovated homes known as Kleinis House and Kinderhouse of the Lakeshore Avenue Baptist Church, a nonprofit corporation. Within a Christian atmosphere, it is the desire of all who serve in the center to help children learn to express themselves in creative ways, to develop manipulative and motor skills, to grow in independence, and to build up confidence in themselves. While the center is not a school, opportunities will be given for each child to promote a wide variety of experiences that should prove potentially educative. For longtime Lakeshore folks, Mr. Floyd Ellison serves as head teacher of the center. And Stan, you know Floyd very well. Stan, he was not only the head of the center, he was the organist at Lakeshore Avenue Church. He holds a Master of Religious Education degree, serving as teachers and teachers' aides are persons well qualified who meet the requirements of the State Department of Social Welfare. Serving as executive director is Mrs. H. Warren Turner, Wilma Turner, who coordinates the operation of the center in relation to the Lakeshore Avenue Baptist Church. Just another word from the purpose statement. Children are welcome from all races, national origins, and religious backgrounds to an environment where the love of God for his little ones will be evident. This will be a community center for all children from 2 years, 6 months to 6 years, 9 months of age, and now with the expansion of school age, it goes to 11 or 12, needing care while parents are away from home. 50 years. When we were running at full steam pre-COVID, we generally had about 100 students across the programs. And that would mean that we were touching anywhere from 50 to 60 households in any given year. So do the math. 50 households over 50 years. Somebody help me here. Several thousand households. Several thousand families in all their diversity, assisted by the ministry of Lakeshore Children's Center. Raising children is good work. It's marvelous work. And it's demanding work. And for families to have a center to come alongside to assist them in their work of raising children, that's heavenly work, sacred work, divine work. . Before I bring our testifiers up this morning, 2 points. One from the Bible reading. Jesus of Nazareth taught the people of his time, as he teaches us still. He teaches us to treat the needs of the people as holy. This phrase, as coined by O'Barry Hendricks in his book, The Politics of Jesus, means that because human beings are created in the image of God, imbued by God's own Spirit, their needs, air, water, food, housing, medical care, education, child care, basic justice, must be treated as if they are essential, consecrated, non-negotiable. These are expressive of our Creator's will for all. Thus, when Jesus heals a woman whose body has been contorted by an arthritic condition for 18 years in a synagogue on a Sabbath, this is the point he is making. Religious observance, the recognition of significant days, that matters, yet is the needs of people, not holy days, that are most holy. Helping human beings bear their burdens, carry their loads, is sacred work. Be that helping a woman find health, or be it providing child care over 50 years. The needs of the people are holy. For 50 years, this is point 2. For 50 years, as the Lakeshore Children's Center has helped families raise their children in a spiritual atmosphere of loving concern, it has been doing holy work, work akin to what Jesus did in that synagogue on that Sabbath long ago. Jesus taught that the needs of the people are holy. When LABC called LCC into being in 1972, as we have supported it all these years, we are saying and continue to say, we agree with Jesus. The needs of the people, the needs of households in all their diversity, the needs of families raising children are holy. In an age when there's much talk about family values, let's flip the narrative. Instead of talking about family values, let's honor the way we value families in all their diversity. The needs of the people are holy. So, Dwight Dickerson, please come. And then Marie, and then Ray, and then Richard Young, and then Michelle. Come just share a word about your experience of Lakeshore Children's Center, what it meant and continues to mean. Dwight, a member of the Lakeshore family, come on up, and I'll start here. And welcome. Good to see you.
Glad to be here. Good morning, everyone. And I have to chuckle a little bit. Pastor Joe is going to go, what he said. That's really what it's all about. I have to think about this. Like, when did my kids start at Lakeshore? And I realized 50 years for Lakeshore, we came in at year 25. So it was a real challenge for us. We were new to the Bay Area. Our first child, who do we trust our kid with? Because we all have to work to make it all happen. And we were told about Lakeshore, and we saw right away what an instant fit this was, because one of the things that I always believe is that you look at the community, not in the context, well, always in the context of your seniors, but also your children. I mean, like, how do you see this? How does it all work? And we saw with Lakeshore and the Children's Center a place that was welcoming, kind, and promoted community. One of the things that was mentioned was, do the math with, households, 50 households over 50 years, that's 2,500. It's much deeper than that, because when our kids are at this center, they are impacted, they learn, they assimilate all this information, and then they take it out into the community. So this is really a true multiplier where Lakeshore has been, and when I say Lakeshore, I'm talking about LCC and the church, has had an incredible, incredible impact. One of the phrases that our kids were taught right away was, listen and cooperate. Listen and cooperate. Think about that. Don't just go out there, yeah, let me tell you that. No, listen. Listen. And cooperate. We work together. My daughter, both of them are doing really well. We're very, very blessed. My oldest is now a resident in surgery at University of Wisconsin Hospital System. The younger one had to get it straight, not NFL, but NHL, the National Hockey League. She's in New York, working in community engagement. She's a project manager for them. And they have taken these lessons. They have taken these lessons from Lakeshore from the very beginning, and it's now incorporated into their beings. And we always joke when they're starting on a new adventure, all right, what do you need to do? Listen and cooperate. I'm proud of this center. I will always support this center. I think it's a true blessing for this community, and I just praise God that we've had this opportunity. So thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome. When Jim was talking about the papers, many of you already know, but my mom's, when my sister and brother-in-law were going through my mom's stuff, they found the papers on LCC. It's just kind of interesting. And in here, there actually was their pledge, because at the time the center opened, the building was going to cost $1,000 a month, and their pledge of $5 a month from our household was in there. I was not quite 12 years old when the center opened, and I remember, this is one of the things I remember clearly from being a child, is what a big deal this was to the church, that to be able to provide children's care, this ministry to the community. Back in 1972, this neighborhood was solid middle class. It didn't have the affluence that it has now, and the idea was to provide affordable child care for the community. And our community has broadened over time, and people live all over Oakland and probably beyond who come to the center, but our ministry is still about providing quality child care for an affordable cost. And I've been serving kind of ad hoc on the board this year because we just need the help. And it's been a joy to be back working on the board. I served on the board in my late 20s or 30s. I can't remember, it's been so long. But this has always been seen as a ministry of the church and an important ministry for the community. And so I just wanted to share the memories of when the center opened and what a big deal it was. And I was helping Winnie Rovetta teach the kindergartners at that time. And I remember sharing the house with the center We don't have to do that anymore. The center, uses the houses pretty much solely at this point, because we have other resources for the kids. But, sharing the space and honoring the center's stuff, toys and so forth, making sure everything that our kids borrowed during the time they were there was put back where it was supposed to be at the end. But it was just a huge, big deal that we were able to do finally, and I was reading the papers this morning, finally able to open the ministry, which I guess was the idea back in 1955. It just took till 1972 to bring it to fruition. So that's my memories of when the center opened. Thank you.
Ray, come on up. Elmo, come if you like as well also. Our current LCC director, and she has been for 20 years, Rita Thompson. Devoted Warriors fan. And Ray is always insistent that our curriculum is a play-based curriculum. Children learn by playing. So Ray, come on.
Yep. Oh, okay, I got you. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I can't believe it's been that many years. It's been wonderful years. We still see many of the children that were here when I started here. And it's just pleasant to see them, when they come back to visit, they come and they go through the classrooms and they go, oh yeah, this was here when I was here. This is new. This was here when I was here. So, okay, so we did get something new, huh? But I ended up coming here through John Dixon. Used to be director of Klein's house. Yeah, he was brought to where I was working at the time by one staff member from here, because we were both teaching children to be peacemakers. And so he talked to me for about 2 months before, okay, I'll apply, not thinking that I would get the job. But it's been wonderful being here. The parents, the children, and my godson, who I used to pick up from here, who is now working here. But it's still a lovely place to be. And it's always fun to make new things for the kids, to find new things for them to do. They sing a lot now, and they're learning, believe it or not, Spanish. We're doing Spanish now, so we wanted to, because we have Spanish-speaking people, so we want to include everybody. So, but I love it being here, so I thought about retiring, and then I thought again and said, not yet. Not yet. No. Not yet. Okay. Thank you.
My conversation with Ray is often those two words, not yet. Richard Young. Richard's a across the street neighbor and a long time part of the LCC family, and we are really glad you're with us today.
Yes, some of you, if you've been around the church long enough, may have gone to Sunday school in my house, which is just across the street. And my wife Lisa and I were fortunate enough to raise 4 children, all of whom went through LCC. So we were involved with LCC for about 16 years. And I still feel that LCC is the most important foundational aspect of my kids' philosophical, moral beings. That's the place where they learn to be human beings. And the depth of that is just amazing. As I look at them and the communities they create and the way they live their lives and what's important, I trace it all directly back to LCC, which touches on your point about community and Dwight's point about community. I think that's the thing that reaches out to me the most about LCC is the community. And I look at it from both the parental side, because parents came together as part of this community on work days and all this kind of good stuff. And I see how those parents then went and did good things for other schools as the kids matriculated up. And I see that through the elementary, the middle schools, the high schools, and then out into the community. And so there's the parent community, and then the kid community is amazing. Kids that my kids went to school with, they're still all best friends. And like I say, I see the communities that they create. And I was trying to figure some metaphor for all of this, and you gave me a little lucky moment today, because I looked at the very next reading in Luke, and it's the mustard seed. And so since 1972, you planted a mustard seed, and it's grown into the tree, and that's supported all this life and community. And I ultimately have to come back to myself and say, why is this community so strong? Why has it worked? And you also gave me a great thing this morning, which is right in 1972, your initial mission statement was acceptance, respect, non-harm, non-judgment. And that, I think, is what makes LCC so powerful and why it works so well. And that's what my children absorbed, and that's what I see growing. It's that we all learn to work together, to listen, cooperate. That, I think, is the big message. And I just can't even express how grateful our family is to have been a part of LCC. And I just think it's an amazing mission of the church. And it really has worked. It's paid off. So thank you. And I'm honored to be here. And thanks, everybody.
Michelle and George, come on up.
Nothing like being on the spot.
You're a chef. You can make something out of nothing.
Good morning. It is a pleasure to be here. We're lucky enough to have had 2 children go through here many years ago with Ethan and with Marie's children. I first heard about Lakeshore Children's Center from my mother, who was standing in line at the bank when my daughter was then probably maybe 6 months old. And she heard 2 women talking about this great child care center. And on and on and on, and all the values they espoused. And of course, my mother just turned around and said, "Where is it? My daughter will need that." And she put it in a piece of paper and stuck it in her wallet. And 2.5 years later, when I'm looking, she goes, "Oh, I know where you should go." And she dug this out of her pocketbook and handed it, and it was Lakeshore Children's Center. I went, "Oh, it's actually on my list of places to look at." I'm going to say, when I walked in and saw Kleinis' house and met John and Katie Coe and Noelle and heard their philosophy of they learn by play, and it was a collaborative, growing environment. I was just sold, because I just didn't want my little 2-year, 9-month-old daughter, who was not a line follower, to be in some rigid little box. I wanted her to still be a kid and be with other people and loving adults. A few years later, Jim alluded to the fact that I was director. That was a little more illustrious title. I was an interim administrator for a few months between directors when they were doing a search. But what it showed me, and I was a little dubious because it's always hard to go behind the curtain of a place that you've loved so much and sort of see what else is going on. But it was the same. You know, the staff was truly solidly behind the philosophy they were espousing and the work they were doing, and they loved the children. I mean, and you know, the parents was a very collaborative group, so it was a really lucky moment. And I also saw how hard the work is and how much they put into it outside of the times we were here. So Lakeshore Children's Center has been a part of our life for a really long time. And I'm very appreciative, and I'm hoping my daughter will come a little later to the picnic because she wanted to see. Anyway, thank you very much, and thank you.
Good morning. I was a board member probably until Karen and I were probably kicked off. It was about 5-6 years. And the one recurring question all the time that we discussed at the board is how to make the parents feel comfortable. You know, it's really hard to let your kids go. You know, you're going to a job and, you know, you look at everybody else and, you know, you had to get them there at a certain time and, you know, after 6 o'clock, it was like $1 a minute or something like that. But always the recurring is how hard it was. And I remember my son at Klein's house in the picture window, you couldn't go by without him waving to you. Otherwise, it was traumatic. I would say that the most important thing that Lakeshore Children's Center has done for everyone since 1972 to 2022 is this establishment organization gives respect to the children. And that is really important. Very little of that goes around anywhere. And they take that from a young age of being respected, and they know how to respect other people. And all I can say is thank you, thank you, thank you.
No, we're not supposed to make commercial endorsements, but Michelle and George run a restaurant on MacArthur Community Table. Stop by. Good stuff. Raphael, I don't want to leave you out. If you want to say a word, you're welcome. Okay. Dave Gaddy, do you want to say a word? Okay. Very good. Folks that have been part of the center. Thank you all for these beautiful testimonies. We'll have a few more testimonies in the yard. We'll have a picnic. Respect the children. Let them play. Stand by their families. Sacred work. Work that touches the ministry of Jesus done in a synagogue on a Sabbath long, long ago.